everybody, so we're finally doing it. We're finally talking about the best and worst books of last year. Hey everybody, my name is Sophie, the Bookish Floor. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to see you again, or happy that you found me and that you're here. So today we're gonna be talking about the books that I read last year. Not all of them, but the best and the worst. Why am I not talking about all of them? Well, because you have so many videos that you can go check out from last year, talking about all the books that I've read. Also, all my social media, which is down there in the description. You can go follow me and check out all the books that I have read over the last year. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this sort of a short and sweet video and just talk about my best and worst reads of last year, and maybe give you guys some book recs that you can start your New Year's with. So let's just go ahead and get started. And just to let you know what I'm doing, I'm checking my stats over on Storygraph, which is the easiest way of doing it. By inserting every read over on Storygraph each month, I can get my stats of how many books I've read, the average time I finish a book, the type of mood reads that I'm in, the genres that I'm reading, and then the star rating, which is really what I'm gonna base my best and book reads of the year. So right now what I did is I went back to 2025. I'm checking all my books, and my average star rating for 2025 was a 3.78. I'm gonna go ahead and check on all of my 5 stars and see what I've got. I have 16 books on my 5 stars for 2025, and honestly, I'm surprised. I thought that I had less 5 stars. I read a total, I think, of 89 books, 84 to 89. I can't remember the exact number. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you all of my 5 stars. But honestly, not a lot of them are memorable because of the year that I think we all had. But yeah, a couple of them are still in my mind, but most of them I have forgotten. And I think those that are still in my mind are the ones that are gonna end up being on my top 5. I'm gonna select 5 that I'm gonna recommend. Maybe an honorable mention here or there, but my top 5 are the ones that I'm gonna recommend to you to add to your 2026 TBR. And yeah, so let's just mention all of them. So one of them is On Self-Esteem and Scholars, Witches and Others, and this is an essay by Gloria Steinem. I have These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan, What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, The Snowman by Hans Christian Andersen, Sisters in the Wind by Angeline Woolley, Black Joy, Stories of Resistance, Resilience by Tracy Michael Lewis, Legendary Friday Drive-In, Intertribal Stories by Cynthia Leach Smith, Meet Me at Luke's, Lessons in Life and Love from Christine Eckhart, Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, The Mountain is Due by Brianna Weist, Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, The Service Berry, Abundance and Reciprocity by Robin Wall Kimmerer, I think is the last name, Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, Sunrise and the Reaping by Susan Collins, Northanger Abbey, and Persuasion by Jane Austen. And that's it. It's not from best to worst. These are all like top 5 stars, so they're all like equally good. The first one that I'm gonna mention that I would recommend that you add to your TBR is This Hollow Vow. So that was actually one of the first books I read in 2025, and I didn't stop thinking about it for the rest of the year. This book really got me into romance again, into fantasy again, got me into romantasy. I didn't think I was a romantasy girly. I don't think I'm still am a romantasy girly. Not the type of romantasy that is really pushed on us out there, like the Akatar, like the, I don't even know what it's called, the one with the dragons and all that. I don't think I'm that type of romantasy girly, because if that one, the one with the dragons, is similar to Akatar, I don't like that necessarily. That is not for me. I don't think that this Hollow Vows is like that. I feel like it's a lot less of the romance and the spiciness, and a lot more of the fantasy world building and all that. So that's what I like. It's a lot more of the war, it's a lot more of the world building. Again, it's a lot more of the plot twist and all that. Yes, it has all of the romance elements and all that, but I feel like there's a lot more plot twists and a lot more intrigue and a lot more of that in this Hollow Vows, and it totally went a way that I didn't expect, and it was very different from what I think. The plot went very differently than what I thought it was gonna go. So I really liked it, and I immediately picked up book number 2. I have physically book 1, and I immediately picked up the audio for book number 2, and I'm just looking for it. You know that I thrift most of my books, and I'm just looking for book number 2 to come up somewhere, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna end up buying it new, because I really want that duology together. Even though I love book number 1 more than book number 2, book number 2 didn't make it on my 5 stars. I do want to complete my duology for that one. So I would suggest that one if you're looking for something fun and something that is more fantasy based and still has that bit of romance, but it's more about the intrigue and the plot and the wars and the fantasy and the world building and all that. I feel like it's like that. And again, it was my first romantasy, so maybe I'm just putting way too much in it. It is a YA, so again, it does have all that YA stuff. It does have a couple of things that I think are a little problematic, and so check trigger warnings, but I think that if you're an adult, it's fine that you read it. I wouldn't recommend younger people read it, actually. I don't know why it's YA. I would recommend it for adults, but yeah, there it is. So something fun, if you want to add something fun to your TBR, this is the one that I would recommend. So that's one that I would recommend. I have 4 slots left for 5 recommendations out of my 5 stars, and there's a lot of good ones. Okay, another one that I'm gonna go for the fun, the plot twist, the discovery, because I'm very into mysteries and trying to solve something using your brain, trying to figure things out. I like those books where you are thinking, you are trying to figure out where this plot is going, who is to blame, what is it to blame. And that one is What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is a retelling, reimagining of The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe. I actually never read that. I've read other Poes, but not that one. And I really like this one. I really like the way that it's done. And yeah, I just really liked it. I really like the whole thing. I really like the whole science part also, and I like the protagonist a lot. So yeah, I think it's very interesting, very clever. I like the also mention of other well-known people in history, so I guess it's sort of historical fiction reimagining. So I just think it's very clever, and yeah, I just really liked it a lot. I feel like it combines a lot of genres. It's genre bending, and yeah, it's very smart. So I really liked it. If you've never read T. Kingfisher, read this book. I think you're gonna like it. If you read other cozy T. Kingfisher, you might be surprised. This isn't cozy. My first T. Kingfisher, I can't remember the name, is the one with the cookie in the cover. I honestly didn't like that one a lot. I don't think I gave it a high rating, but I knew what I've heard from T. Kingfisher, that was kind of out of what they normally write. So I wanted to give this one a try, and I feel like this is more up their alley, and I really like this one. So yeah, What Moves the Dead is gothic, is mysterious, is historical. It's yeah, I really liked it. So yeah, go ahead and read that one. Okay, for the next one, I feel like there's a couple of books that I have to recommend that are, I think, important reads that really stayed with me, and I feel like they're not only entertaining, but they're smart, and they're critical for us to understand the world that we're living in. And I think that it's important for us to read them in any capacity, for entertainment reasons or for educational reasons. It serves all purpose, and you can only be enriched by the experience of reading these books, and it is important for you to read these books. So I think the next one is Legendary Freiburg Drive-In. This is a collection of short stories where all the characters at the end of the day end up by some sort of connection, end up at the Legendary Freiburg Drive-In. They're all from different places, they're all in different times, but they all end up at a drive-in where they sell fry bread, which is a traditional Native American type of bread that they get to eat. So a drive-in that sells that type of bread is not an actual thing. So when one of them discovers that there is a drive-in with such bread, it sort of throws them off. But whenever you read the next story, you see that the character also ends up there. Each story tells, again, a different path of lives where the main character ends up. Different protagonists, different stories, different times, but they all are connected by this place, by their culture. So it's very important for you to read it, for you to know it and to love it, because you will love it once you read it. And yeah, I think it's important for everybody. The next one, it's gonna be, we have this Hollow Vows, which is just a fun, good time. We have What Moves the Dead, which is a fun, creepy time. We have Legendary Freiburg Drive-In, which is a fun, educational, transformational, again, entertaining. They're all entertaining and fun, but this is a deeper read. And then the next one that I'm gonna recommend, I have two left, so I have to be very careful because I have so many more that I want to recommend. I think I'm gonna have to have honorable mentions. The next two are for very different reasons, but I'm gonna have to give the next two to Parable of the Sower and Sunrise on the Reaping. I feel like in the world in general, we are going through similar things in different countries. And even if your country feels really calm and safe and secure, you cannot just sit there and feel comfortable where you are. You still have to be paying attention to what's going on around the world. You are still a citizen, again, of this planet, and you still have an obligation to be informed and be aware. At the very least, be informed and be informed and be aware. And I think these two books are part of being informed, being aware. And even though these two books are fictional and are entertainment, reading fictional and entertaining books is still a reflection of society, is still for you to process information that might be too much in reality, and to see how characters can process certain things going on in their world. So maybe when you get to a point in life, in real life, where you might get into a similar situation, you might have a parameter, you might have an example, or at the very least, reading a book will create empathy for when you see this happening to other people. So these two books, I think, wherever you are, however you feel about things right now, these two books might give you another side of the story if you are not quite understanding what is going on. So because you're not close to it, or if you are close to it but still don't know what to do or even how to approach it, maybe this can give you some solace, some awareness of some other things that might be going on. But again, books are there to give you empathy, to give you different sides of stories, to give you different points of view, and for you to understand how things work, even though they are fiction. That is exactly what we do, for example, in school when we're teaching. You present hypotheticals and you solve them in investigations. That's what you do. So it's the same thing with a book. You are just presented with a story, with characters that go through things, and however you process that, it might tell you a little bit about yourself when you see things in real life, how you might process things in real life. So Parable of the Sower is a story about a futuristic, but not really, it was published in the 90s. It's about a 2025 where America is kind of a dystopian America, and they're going through a lot of things, and yeah, it is a very extreme America, and the main character has to find a way to survive, and pretty much they are refugees in their own country, and they're going from one city to another, trying to find shelter and community and food and all that. So yeah, just read it and see what you think. And the other one is Sunrise on the Reaping, which is the prequel to the Hunger Games. But the reason why Sunrise on the Reaping is important for people to read, we already know everything about the Hunger Games. And if you haven't read this book is not so much about the games, because we know how the games work, and we know that Haymitch won the games, obviously, because he survived. Then he is the mentor of Katniss and Peeta. For him to be that, obviously he had to have won his game. So we all know that. But the main topic, or the main point of that, is propaganda, and how he won his games, and how he was presented to the world, and how his games were presented to the world, and how information was manipulated for others' consumption. And yeah, I think this is more important than ever right now, with so much information out there. And yeah, I think those two books are very important for people to read right now, simply just as general knowledge, like any other book would be. So those are my top 5. Other honorable mentions would have to go to Sisters of the Wind by Angeli Bully. This is the 3rd book, and Firekeeper's Daughter, and then Warrior Girl on Earth is the 2nd book, and then this one is the 3rd book. They're all connected. They are all about different characters, but they are all connected. They're all related somehow. If you haven't read the other 2, that's okay. You might get something spoiled, but they are following each different characters, and they are standalones, but you might get certain things spoiled from the previous books. But that one is still a very good book. I would recommend it. And then the other one would be The Serviceberry, Abundance and Reciprocity. And this is a book about how the whole concept of Serviceberry, about having something that you can give to others, not selling something, just giving to someone else, and that person being able to give something to you, is how people used to do commerce. But instead of exchanging money, you would exchange goods or services, and it would be like more of an honesty and trade in more of an honorable trade, I guess. I don't know how to say it. That's not the proper word. It would be more of, you would base it most on that. You wouldn't take advantage of others. Like, you would give an equal service for an equal for something that you did for them, and for something that they did for you, and so on and so forth. So everybody would prosper in the tribe or the village, and how that has been lost, and how it is important for us to kind of come back to that, perhaps. So that is very interesting. I really love them. And if you wanna, after read all that, you need a little bit of a palate cleanser, because sometimes it's okay if you read something really heavy and then you want something light and something heavy and something light. Any of the Avi Jimenez, I love Avi Jimenez, so I would recommend any of those. But yeah, those are my top 5. If you wanna add them to your 2026 TBR, I would recommend that you do ASAP. Okay, so now let's go to my worst books of 2025. Okay, guys, I was about to talk to you guys about my worst books, and then I went to the lowest rating, and I realized that I have 2 books on my story graph without rating, and that is The Spell Shop and I Who Have Never Known Men. And why is I Who Have Never Known Men without a rating? Obviously, that's a 5-star. Add it to your TBR. I don't think I need to talk about it because it has been all over everywhere. Book Talk, Bookstagram, Booktube. Everybody has been talking about it. I feel like a lot of people say the same things about it. I guess it's not maybe to spoil it, but there is so much more to this book that people are saying. They just say that it's a feminist book. And it's really, I think, or that is against patriarchy, and I guess it is because and yes, obviously it is. I'm not gonna say, I know that I just said I guess it is, no, and it is, but there's also so much more to it. It is also, I think, a commentary about girlhood and womanhood and the relationship between women, and how a society that is just about women how they can carry each other. And when you read the book, the whole point of this book, once you get above the shock of the first pages and where they were, the whole chunk of the book is the relationship between these women and how they have to build a life on their own, and how those relationships grow throughout time, and what they have to go through together. It's really about the relationship between those women, and it has nothing to do after the initial shock of where they have been and what happened to them. It has nothing to do with that, and 90% of the book is about the women and their journey as women, and the main protagonist as a girl, as a woman, and as she grows older. Emily Fox is the one that started talking about this book like years ago when I started hearing about this book. She was the first one. Then it kind of took over. A lot of people started talking about it, and then it took on a life of its own. Nobody ever gave Emily Fox credit, so I'm gonna give it to her right now, because she was the very first person that I heard talking about this book. And she talks about it profoundly. She has read it like twice already. Her native language is French. She has read it in French because the book was written in French and then translated. If you didn't even know about it, add it to your TBR. It's amazing. And yeah, once you read it, talk about it and talk about every single part of it, because it is amazing. So I Who Have Never Known Men, add it to your TBR. Okay, let's go to my worst books of the year. I have one with a 2.25, and this is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say, Dating Dr. Deal. Oh my god, this book, I remember that I started reading it in 2024, and I left it. It was a summer pick, and I read a little bit of from it in the summer, and then I just didn't finish it. And then this summer, I think, I don't even remember when I read it. In May I read it, and it was horrible. I hated every single part of it. Now, I'm not saying that the writing is horrible or that the author is horrible. So just whenever I said that a book is horrible, my taste and that story doesn't align. Okay, now I'm gonna say things about the book that I don't like, and some of them might generally be ideas that we all agree that they're not okay. But please, this has nothing to do with the author or anything like that. Whenever I talk about bad books, so I hated the way, I hate him. Like, he's so annoying. He says things that are very annoying. I feel like he's condescending, and yeah, he gave me the ick, and I don't even feel like this was romantic at all. I just felt like it was annoying, and there's nothing good to say about it. And I feel there was one point, I think, that he was screaming at her, and I thought, like, why is she here? And there was no amount of anything that he could do to, like, change that. Like, why are we accepting crumbs? Like, why is that okay? So no, I felt like this was very reminiscent of the early 2000 male leads that would think they're okay, that they can do anything, like, and everything, and be horrible human beings, and at the end, because they say I love you and bring you roses, you're gonna accept it, and that's gonna be the end of the movie, and happily ever after. And no, you're not gonna forget everything that just happened. That is so toxic. And I feel like he was so toxic, and the steamy scenes were like, they were just not my thing. So they, no thank you. Like, no thank you. Okay, which other one was not okay? Okay, perfect. I have 4 books, and those are gonna be my 5 worst books of the year. So the first one is Dating Dr. Dill. The next one is gonna be The Lost Bookshop. This book was all over the place. It was a mystery about a bookshop that sort of appears and disappears, but I feel like it tried to be so many things. It tried to be like magical realism with the bookshop that appears and disappears. It tried to be a murder mystery with something that happened. It's a dual timeline, which also makes it confusing, because there's a, like, person in a different timeline trying to look for the bookshop, but then there's, and again, a mystery of someone else trying to run away from a previous life. So there's like too many mysteries, including the bookshop. So there's like 5 different characters all vying to be the main character, plus the bookshop, whether it's real or not real. So there's too much competition. And because this isn't a high fantasy. If it was a high fantasy, it would be like a 600, 700 page book. This is a shorter book, so you have to pack all of that in a short book. So everything is very convoluted. Everything is very, you don't know which character is talking. Like, their voices are very similar too, so you don't know what timeline you're in, who is talking now. So the confusion of the book stayed with me. What the names are of the characters, what the actual plot line is, what happened at the end, there's nothing there. I have no idea what happened. So that is The Lost Bookshop. The next one is I Was Told There'll Be a Village. And this is a book about how mothers need a village in order to be able to have support as mothers. And I agree 100%. As a mom to little reader, you do need a village in order to be able to do different things. However, this book is just about complaining how no one is there for the needs of this particular person, and there was never a moment where there's a reflection of this is how I'm willing to be there for my village. And after I read this book, and actually I did a video, I think, where I mentioned it, and then I put it on the reviews and all of that. I don't know if that's the algorithm telling me something, but I did, like, a few months later, or maybe even a month later, I don't remember, I started getting a lot of videos about people want a village, but no one is really willing to work for a village. And literally that's the whole book, like this woman complaining about how no one is there for her, but literally at no point did she said anything about how she was willing to be there for anyone, or gave us a million examples of how she was there for any of the other women in her life. It was just complaint after complaint after complaint, or criticism of the woman in her life. So if I was reading this book, how would I even want to approach her to be part of her village? That's insane. So yeah, no. And even if you are not a mom, even if you are just a person, because let's say you have pets, or you own a home, or even if you rent and you want someone to like watch your home while you go on vacation or whatever it is, right? Or you have a work trip and you want someone to water your plants, whatever it is, you need a village for that, right? So, or maybe you're gonna be, again, you're having a work trip and you're gonna be out of town for 2 months and someone needs to pay your bill, whatever it is that you need a village for, to build that. And it's the same as the service very theme, the reciprocity, is you have your friends where you say, hey, I need this can you help me out? And next time when you're out of town, I'll be willing to be there. Or next time when you're on a date with your significant other, I'll babysit. I know I don't have kids, but I can babysit and you can take care of my plants. Like, there's a reciprocity, right? Do you need a ride? Do you need to go grocery shopping? Let's go together. That way we can accompany each other, right? Instead of each of us going alone, let's do Sunday morning at the market or whatever it is. So there's this thing of creating your village. So yeah, let's just not complain about not receiving help. Let's actually offer help and create that. So anyway, my next book was part of a video that I did, which was reading book talk books I think I'm gonna hate. And honestly, it was like a tongue-in-cheek sort of video, because I was hoping that I was gonna love every single book in there. And I was surprised at the book that I actually liked. But one that I was thinking, like, because of the way people talk about her, I was already thinking that she wasn't gonna be it for me. But I was hoping that I was mistaken, because if I was like a teen when this book came out, yeah, again, I would be eating that thing up. But I'm not anymore. So I know what they're trying to do, and I think I see things with other eyes now, and things that used to be romanticized, now I can see them clearly as toxic behaviors. And those toxic behaviors from the early 2000s are like super red flags, and I have zero tolerance for it now, and no more of that. And that book is Normal People. And this is a book where everybody's horrible. And I mean, I guess the good thing we agree on the internet is that, yeah, those are characters that are horrible. Like, nobody's justifying that, so I'm happy about that. However, I do think that people romanticize them. Everybody agrees that they're horrible, but people romanticize the idea that they're horrible because they're young, and they're horrible because they don't know any better. And I agree when they're younger, because the story starts when they're really young, but they get up to a point where they can grow, where they are older, where their brains start to develop, right? And I know that some people get stuck in trauma and does something to them, and I agree. And And if we are thinking about these people are people that were not able to get past their trauma and are not able to grow, and we can see it as that and recognize that what they're doing is incredibly wrong and not romanticize it, then yes, sure, that might be a good book. But that's not what is happening here. This is a book that is actually romanticizing everything that they're doing, and people are romanticizing everything that they're doing when they're reading it, and they're passing it as love and misunderstandings when it's just horrible people doing horrible things to each other and using their circumstances as an excuse to do those things. And I cannot, like, that is, no, that's not okay with me. That is something like that I cannot agree with in real life, in fiction, or in anything. Like when you use your circumstances as an excuse to treat people badly, like that's not okay. So yeah, that book was not for me. So yeah, that is book number 4. And the last book that is one of the worst books that I read in 2025 was one of the books for Bookmath. It is The Christmas Bookshop. And I don't know, I think that is because it's trendy, and I don't know what it is, but I think that maybe it's because it's trendy to have a book in the bookshop, the Christmas bookshop, the last bookshop, the, I don't know, Tokyo bookshop, whatever. And as long as you put bookshop on the title, it's gonna sell, but that doesn't mean it's a good story. Like this book, again, too many characters. Like they have the idea and then they just put on the page whatever they can find, I guess. It has, like, it's the story of a family with like 2 or 3 sisters. One of the sisters has kids, so that's already like 5 characters. But then there's a book owner. One of the sisters works at the bookshop, so there's another character, that's 6. There's like a guy who's a reporter who's doing a story on the bookshop who might or might not fall in love with the girl, so that's like 7 characters. You might think, oh, 7 characters is not that many, but when they're all vying to be like the main one, that's a lot of people. What are you gonna focus on? And think about it. What are you focusing on? The story between the family, the story with the nieces, the story with the sisters, the story with the daughters and the mother, the story with the boyfriend, the story with the book owner. Like what are we talking about? Like where are we focusing our energy? And again, this is like a 250, 300 page book. Like how many pages is this book? 310 pages. How can we tell everyone's story in 310 pages? So again, because there's so many people, no voice is clear. I never had an idea who was talking. And then the mother, like, horrible to the girl who was working at the bookstore, like horrible, like said some horrible things to her. And then you don't even want to listen to her on the page. Why are we wasting time with this character who's horrible? And sometimes you have those characters in order for you to be, for your main character to develop, I guess. I mean, yes, that's the whole point. For your character to develop, you have to have like a counterpart or whatever. But sometimes it just doesn't work because you're not actually doing anything about it. If your character stays silent, or it doesn't have backbone, or they don't do anything about it, it's just like abuse. You're just looking at someone being abused and the other person not doing anything. So it's completely annoying. So yeah, I mean, no, it was so annoying. Like this book was so annoying. I cannot tell you what happened. As you can tell, whenever there's too many characters, too many storylines, too many plots going all over the place, like you get lost in the middle and you don't even know when the story ends. Like when it ends, you're just like, thank God, can I please start another book? Because you have no idea what happens, and you don't remember, and you don't care, like, because you never cared actually. So yeah, please stop doing that. If you have a 310 page book, 3-4 main characters, other ones are like not needed there, and just focus on what you need to focus on. All we needed was a girl working at a bookshop with an old man and a reporter coming to make a story. 3 main characters. Those 2 fall in love. We don't care about the family. Make it a rom-com. and make a sweet story between the girl and the old man, something about the bookshop, and maybe he leaves the bookshop to her. Like, that's a great story. Who doesn't want to read that at Christmas, right? I don't know what that was. Zero idea. No idea what that was. So anyway, maybe that was a book, but I have no idea with all the other people running around in that story. It feels like a Christmas scene with everybody running around. Like it feels like the McAllisters the day before they have to fly out. Like, that's how it feels, like everybody running around chaotic. So those are the worst books of the year. Let me know what you read last year. Let me know your best books and your worst books. Put them right there on the description for us to add to our TBR, or definitely maybe take out of our TBR, possibly, if we have them already there. Remember that on the description you have all the ways that you can support my channel. I really do appreciate it. Make sure that you follow me on all my socials, because I might be transitioning out of some of the social media. And make sure that you like, subscribe, do that bell thing. I'm gonna start doing some giveaways soon here on my channel. I am celebrating this month my 2nd anniversary here on YouTube, and starting in January I do want to send the gifts to my subscribers. So if you are subscribed, I will be contacting one of you to receive a little gift. So make sure that you are subscribed in order to be able to participate, and that is gonna be a Bookish gift. So yeah, make sure that you are following and liking the video. So thank you very much. Remember to keep reading and keep blooming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.